Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you my sort of updated foundation routine, something that I have been changing a little bit. I have a new foundation, so that's a big change there for me because you guys know, if you've been following for a long time, you know that I absolutely love my Urban Decay Naked Skin Foundation, but I do believe that that is not an oil-free foundation, so that's kind of what I wanted to in the midst of trying to figure out what caused this sort of onset of acne, and things seem to be calming down. I just have the marks left over, which I'm okay with. They're fading slowly, but I don't actually have any current breakouts, thank the Lord. And so I decided to change my routine a little bit and sort of focus on putting certain products in certain areas to help sort of make my skin look a little bit better. I know that makeup is in no way going to replace having really healthy, great skin. I think that skin is very important, and I'm obsessed with skincare products, and I can talk on and on about that. So today's video is all about what I would do to help sort of give myself an even complexion, something that I would do if I had just a few minutes to get ready and be out the door, if I'm rushing because I have a toddler and a husband that's rushing me out the door, or just whenever I have some time to do my makeup and really take my time. These are the things that I would do anyways. And I also wanted to do another part on what I would do for the eyes, just really simple, easy things that I would do for minimal makeup, just keeping everything really light. And I do think that less is more when it comes to makeup. You guys know, if you've been here for long enough, you know that I like things on the more natural side, and that's just kind of my approach for makeup. It's just focusing more on my skin and just perfecting the skin versus trying to perfect my face with makeup. I just think it's just better overall. So if you want to see how I do my quick and updated foundation routine, then stay tuned. Alright, so the foundation that I have been using and I have really enjoyed lately is the Clinique Even Better Makeup. This has an SPF of 15, so it does give me somewhat of a good coverage. It does have a little bit of SPF, not the best SPF or as much as you should be using, but I have been a sun worshiper my entire life, and I am now sort of being more particular about SPF. And I have it in the shade number 24, which is called Linen, and this seems to be a really good match. I also really love using the Beautyblender. Other alternatives that I like, but somehow I just keep coming back to this. I did wash it though, and that Beautyblender Solid Cleanser didn't seem to take off too much of the stains, but nonetheless, it's still a nice, clean, damp sponge. So I like to take the foundation and I just kind of squirt just a little bit onto the sponge, like so. And then I just sort of do a kind of dabbling motion over that area. As you can see, I have most of the product there. And then I'll just do a teeny bit through this area just to kind of even everything out. And then a little bit over the nose and lip area. Now, before I used to put foundation pretty equally and evenly all over the entire face, but I have found that just doing this is much better. So then I take the underside, the kind of rounded side of the Beautyblender, and I just start kind of pushing and pouncing this around. And I did wring out all of the excess water, so this Beautyblender is going to help blend everything in and also absorb any excess. You can see, you will still be able to see a little bit of my imperfections, because even though I went through this crazy breakout, I never sought out a full coverage foundation. That's just never been my thing because I've always had really good skin. If you like full coverage, by all means, you know, wear whatever you like. But personally for me, I just feel like it's just too heavy and not really necessary. If you have really good skin, there's no point in covering up healthy, beautiful, radiant skin with foundation and makeup. My chin is peeling. My chin is usually my driest spot in my face, and everything else is more kind of combo to oily and, of course, acne prone. But I've been using my Retin-A still, and I think that's what's causing my chin to peel a little bit more than usual. And I'll take just a tiny bit more, literally just the tiniest amount, like barely anything, and I will go over like the areas around my nose and like the sides of my nose where I have some redness. And this foundation is really, really light. It doesn't feel heavy. And then I like to go over the eyelids as well, just to kind of help even things out. And I haven't been doing any primer or anything like that either. And then I'll go back in with just a little bit more. and just kind of pounce it over the areas just to kind of give myself a little bit more coverage, but again, keeping everything pretty light. I probably used maybe about a pump and a half for my entire face, but most of it is in this area. So now it's time for me to do some spot concealing and just keeping this area looking a little bit more minimized. And as you can still see, you may be able to still see a little bit of it. I don't want to keep packing on product because when you do that, that's my dog. When you do that, it tends to get really cakey and heavy, especially if you set your foundations. And also the powder that you use to set it also plays a big role in that. But I use the Smashbox Studio Skin, the 24-hour waterproof concealer. This concealer is so good because it doesn't crease, it doesn't cake up, it doesn't cling to dryness or anything, and I use this as my under eye concealer and also to spot conceal because it is an oil-free product. I apply this to the back of my hand, and then I take from the back of my hand onto any spots or any acne. I don't use the applicator for that because, again, you're transferring bacteria from your breakouts into this product, and you're essentially ruining the product with the bacteria. So that's just a tip. Use it on the back of your hand. I do use it under the eyes from the applicator because the under eye area doesn't really break out. You don't really have oil glands under the eye area, so there's, breakouts under the eye is not something that you hear a lot of. I'll take my finger or like my Real Technique sponge, which I didn't wash, and I would just kind of press this into the skin a little bit. Now come in here and just lightly go over those spots. And then with the underside of my Beauty Blender, I kind of just push it into the skin. I think I probably grabbed too much. That's okay. Alright, so I've concealed and I'm pretty happy with where I am as far as coverage. And I will set this in a moment, but I will be taking some of that same concealer and I will go underneath the eyes as well. And then use the pointed side of the Beauty Blender that's still kind of damp. I just like to kind of blend this in and pounce that sponge back and forth. And then whatever's left, I just go again over the lids just to help cover up any redness, any veinings or anything like that, because that skin is pretty thin. So you're most likely going to see a little bit of veining through that area. And then I like to also take whatever's left and just kind of lightly go around the nose, just a little bit. And if you have any breakouts, I wouldn't do that because, again, you're going to kind of rub that all over the place. So that's how I do the concealer and the foundation. Now all I need to do is set this. Now my two favorite powders to set my foundation, I use one for my under eyes and one for my face. For my under eye area, I really love the Besame Cosmetics. This is the Translucent Brightening Vanilla Rose. So it has a light pink tint to it, so it helps kind of brighten up the area, and I'm all about that because the under eye area, especially if you haven't slept very well, can look really dark, and it just makes you look really tired. So something brightening is definitely going to be a huge difference, and it's going to be a lifesaver, especially if you have like dark circles naturally like I do. And that's kind of why I like to use color correctors as well. This is just a Brightening Peach one from Pixie that you can get at Target, which I didn't use today, but I normally do use this. And then to set the face, I use the Cinema Secrets Translucent Setting Powder. It's a very finely milled powder, and it feels very lightweight on the skin. It's not very heavy at all, and it gives just the right amount of setting and kind of matte look without looking chalky or overboard. It doesn't make you look really dry, and again, it's just your classic translucent setting powder. And I use the same Beauty Blender, and then I just kind of lightly push that into the skin. And I don't do too much. Again, it's just to kind of set the concealer so there isn't a lot of movement with that throughout the day. And just a little bit through the T-zone. Moving on to the under eyes. As you can see, it's a nice, pretty, bright pink color. And I always look up and then push that into the skin. Make sure everything is nice and set. And I also take a little bit right in this area here where I have larger pores, just to kind of create that extra brightness. And I will take it over the eyelids too. And I love this powder, and I love the packaging. It has like a vintagey feel, something that I could see on my grandmother's vanity. If she was still alive, I could see something like this. Like, just the feel of this brand is just very kind of old school. And there you have it. That is exactly what I do, whether I have a few minutes or I have 30 minutes to an hour to get ready and take my sweet time. I don't get those moments very often as a stay-at-home mom. Those of you who are stay-at-home parents, you know how crazy it is having toddlers and how you just don't have time for a lot of things. So this is kind of what I do to keep everything really simple. Add a little bit of bronzer and blush. So for blush, it's the LORAC Buildable Blush in Tinge, which is my favorite. It's a matte formula. I love this. This is my baby. And then I did a little bit of the Too Faced, the Chocolate Soleil bronzer. That is my current routine of how I do my makeup and how I just keep everything pretty light. It feels like I'm wearing nothing on my skin, which is perfect, and that's exactly what I wanted. And it just looks a little bit put together, and it's not heavy. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't look heavy. And I think it's really nice. That subtle kind of glow from the Celestial powder from Kevyn Aucoin just gives a pretty glow to the skin and makes your skin look really radiant and pretty. You could definitely put more highlighter on if you wanted to. Definitely take it either way. You can put more highlight or skip it all together. It's up to you, whatever you feel most comfortable wearing. So I hope that this video was helpful and kind of give you some insight on how I've been doing my makeup and my little methods of application that I've changed recently. And I'm really happy with the change, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And if you try it out, let me know what you think. Feel free to also share some of your favorites down in the comment section. I always love hearing back from you guys, and I appreciate you so much for subscribing, for watching, for spending some of your day with me. Thank you so much for being you, and I will talk to you very soon.